Howdy guys, it's Luke at Luke's Affordable Paint Service coming at you with number 3 of the water tutorials. Literally, this is going to be me pouring the resin. I'm going to go into a bit of detail about, adding the colour to it. I'm going to add a bit of brown because obviously when you look at rivers in the wild, in the natural habitats, water is usually brown coloured because of the mud and everything that it's got like an amber colour, hasn't it? So I'm going for that natural look. It's an autumn board. There's a lot of browns and oranges and stuff on there anyway, so it'll all make sense. If it had a bright blue river in the middle of it, I don't think I'd like that. So I'm not going for that. I'm going for more natural and realistic looking. So I'm going to add a few bits of brown in the clear cast. The stuff that I use is CFS clear cast resin. I buy it in 5 litre tubs. If you don't know what a 5 litre tub is, that's what it is. It's a lot of resin. I might never use all of it, but I've used about half, so I'm doing well. I'm gonna need around 1,000 millilitres. I'm guessing 3 pints. We'll see. I'm not good at maths, so I can't figure it out. So I'm just gonna play it by ear and see what we end up with. I'm just gonna do this video as a pouring the resin video and how I mix it, how I add the ink. To keep it short, and then we'll get on to water effects after in a different video. So if you know how to mix resin, you know how to add inks, don't bother watching this video, guys. It is literally just simple pouring resin. All right, the next video will be doing the active waters and all that stuff. Okay, so anyway, I'll crack on, I'll get set up, and we'll see what it turns out like. I'm absolutely crapping myself about this bit. If I get it wrong, the board's done, and I've been at this board for about 4 days. So anyway, catch you in a bit. Right guys, so I've weighed the resin. There's just over 400 grams in each pint pot. Now, when adding the resin, my mixture, to get the natural ripple of the resin, I used 3 grams per 100 grams of resin. And they're just over 4, so I'm going to put in just over like 12-13 mil of catalyst per pint pot. Okay, so all you do is you squeeze these bottles are Ace, and then you squeeze them, and what that does is that just puts, it measures it out for you in the tub. Now you can't do any more than 10, but just pour it in like that, and then what you've got to do is get a really good mix. And just put the extra in there like that, and then I'll mix the other one after I've done this. Now get yourself a coffee stirrer or a tongue depressor or lollipop stick, and give this a really good stir, guys. I mean, literally, what, 2-3 minutes of stirring it. When you first pour the resin before adding the catalyst, there'll be bubbles in it. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to leave it stood for a minute or two, just so all the little bubbles and everything come out. Okay, you will get some bubbles in the resin when you pour it, but you can get them out by blowing on it or using your airbrush, which I'll cover if there is any. Okay, so once you've given this a good stir for a good 2-3 minutes, it's just making sure that you get a really good mix, guys, because you don't want any sticky parts on your board. You don't want any, unfinished resin parts, because if it doesn't stick, you're gonna have to do another pour to hide it, which is not what you really want to do on a board. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll keep stirring this rather than talking to you for 2 minutes, but I'll keep stirring this, and then I'll once I'm ready to add the ink, I'll get back. Right guys, now adding ink. What I'm going to add is well, it's not ink, it's a wash, but it's down, well, it says ink on the bottle, so it must be. But I'm adding like a really dark, strong ink to this. I don't know how much to add, so I'll just do it by a splurge. I don't know, because obviously if I were doing it by drops, it might be too much, because it's very large. But what you need to do is mix this, guys, so it's, you can't see any of the grains in the ink. And I think that's about right. Okay, so a splurge. Go for the colour that you want. Might actually take it just a step darker, like that. So what I'll do is that's how easy it is to add your ink. Just make sure there's no grains or anything in there. If you don't know what I mean by grains, it's just literally the pigment of the paint or the ink, which can be quite grainy in there, but just make sure you mix that out, okay? I'll do it on the other one, I'll get roughly the same colour, and then we'll get to pouring. Catch you in a sec. I bloody love this new tripod, it's awesome. Anyway, what best way to pour this, guys, is just do it in the middle, and then pour it, you know, away to where you need it. Because obviously if you do it in the middle and you pour a little bit too much, it'll run to where it needs to go. All right, so as you can see, the brown ink really helps it mix in with the brown floor. Bearing in mind we are adding water effects and everything to this as well. I shouldn't have really stuck the bridge on. That's going to be the hard one. It does run, it does find its own level, but it's just obviously if there's a bit in there, I'll have to do it with a coffee stirrer or something. Okay. So as you can see, it's not very thick at the moment, the river, and I've nearly poured a whole pint. So if you were buying the hobby products, like realistic woodland scenic stuff, you'd be paying an absolute fortune to do this, whereas it's going to cost me about, what, 15-20 quid worth of resin. So that's why I like the trade products better. Anyway, I'll walk around, I'll try and not knock my tripod over. Hang on, just bear with me. Sorry about this professionalism, guys. Right, now, just pour. Might have made just a little bit too much, but I don't mind a bit of waste. Anyway. Oh, I hadn't stuck my boat down, but it don't matter. I've got resin in my boat. Literally, just pour this. You can go as thick as you want. Like that. So obviously it's like a nice embankment. And literally when you get to this bit, guys, when you get over to your waterfall, what I've done to butt this up, I've put some hot glue at the back, holding up a Polly Pocket, plastic wallet, whatever you want to call it, and also I've put a big tongue depressor at the back with some cling film on it, and that's made a really good dam, okay? It's watertight anyway. Well, we'll see anyway, won't we? And literally just let your water effects pour over and down the waterfall as well. I've just made the right amount. Like that. We are dry brushing this as well, so it doesn't really matter. But I will have to do a second pour, I think, because I've just run out of resin. But that's the first pour in. So I'll go to the long shot, and then once it's dry, I'll show you it finished as well. So this is going to be, another night. So I'll catch you again soon. Right, guys, I'm putting a bit of active water in. I mean, this was going to be an active water effects video, but while the resin's still wet, I'm going to do it now, so I can refer in the video anyway. What you need to add is a nylon fibre. You can use cotton wool, but I find it too dense. Thanks to Stephen Fletcher for letting me know about this stuff. He really helped. So Stephen's Small Worlds, I think his page is called on Facebook. Literally, all it is the stuff that you find in like stuffed toys. It's like a nylon fur fibre, okay, and this is what we're going to use for like the water splash. So literally just thin it out a bit, okay, and then just literally stick it in the resin while it's wet. So under the resin it will look like all your foam and everything as well. You can bunch it up a bit. I mean, I'm going to be putting water effects as well on top of them and blending them all in, but literally what it gives you that nice water splash effect. It's hard to emulate, but we try and make it look as good as you possibly can. And this is how you do it, guys. So, literally, just like that. And just press it in. And put one more round on the other side. Just be careful not to get it anywhere that you don't want it. And like I said, when we pour more resin as well, that should hold it all in place. You can pull it around and everything, but as it sets, it'll find its place. All right, guys. So, and what that does as well, that hides the connecting points of the resin. And obviously, when we dry brush this white and we get some colour on it and everything else, it gives you that sort of, it'll all blend very nice. At the minute, it's very like, well, that's cleary, creamy looking, that's really white, but we'll sort that out with the paint. Okay, so that's how you add some quick water effects to the bottom of your waterfall. All right, so I'll let it all dry. It's going to be a good 24 hours, I suppose. It says you know, you've got about an hour's playing time. It does cure to like a jelly in about an hour. But after that, then it starts curing, which I think it's about 8 hours, depending on how strong you've mixed it. But I'll leave it 24 just so I'm completely sure it's set. Okay? Because you don't even want to put your finger on it to check it. You don't want to do anything, because if it's slightly damp, it leaves a mark and then it sets. And if it's gone past a certain point, it won't re-level out. So just don't touch this stuff for a good, 12, 24 hours. All right, guys? So catch you in a second. Right, guys. So it's all more or less dry now. As you can see, I've added a couple of leaves. Literally while it was still wet, I just dropped them in. Sorry I didn't get that on camera, guys, but I had to go to work. But literally, guys, I've cut them on my green stuff leaf cutter, and then I've just poured them in where the water would sort of set, like put the leaves. I might add a few more later. As far as this is set, I don't know whether I'll add another pour of resin or not. I'm quite happy with how that single pour's gone. As you can see, it's looking quite nice. I mean, the water effects and everything I'm going to add in the next video. But that one pour's quite thick, it's quite nice, it's set really well. Still a bit tiny tacky. It's been about 12, well no, it's been about 15 hours. So I'm just going to leave it a bit longer, and then we'll get to see how it'll all look once it's completely set. But like I said, that's it for that. I'll finish the video, guys, and then what we'll do is I'll go on to water effects afterwards, and we'll really get this looking like it should. Alright, guys, catch you in a bit. Right, so that's just pouring resin, guys. You saw how easy it is just to pour and mix. It's very simple. Only thing I'd advise, if you are building a board, guys, if you are using any sort of foams that are sensitive to resins, aerosol cans, that sort of thing, make sure it's sealed. Alright, so when you're doing your riverbed, make sure you've got plenty of filler to cover it and hide it. Just make it as watertight as possible, so when you do pour your resin, you're not going to have any accidents. Okay, but if you are going to use, like your insulation foams, stuff that are resilient to aerosol cans and resins and stuff, still do it, but you don't have to be as careful. Okay, so that's as simple as pouring it resin. I added the bits of the cotton woolly stuff, the nylon cotton wool stuff. I don't know its proper name. I took it out of dog toy. Literally just stuck that in place, and it'll work well once we've got all the active water effects down and we've dry brushed the river. But that's coming up in the next video, guys. Okay, if you like what I'm doing, like, share, subscribe as always. And always, guys, as you know, I've got my Luke's Affordable Paint, Luke's APS Hangouts and Discussions page on Facebook. It's just where all us, modelers come together and help each other out, save a few quid, and we, ideas and stuff. All right, guys. So thanks for tuning in. That's just pouring your resin. Next up is adding the water effects, like the proper water effects, like active water and stuff. I've not done it myself before, so you'll be seeing me doing it for the first time. I've watched 2 review videos, so I'm sure it's as simple as it looks. All right, catch you in a bit.